Have you ever considered that, in general, women do about 70% of the choosing when dating, while men, on the other hand, do about 30% of it? It happens quietly, without anyone needing to say it out loud, but it governs almost every interaction between men and women. For most women, their natural proclivity is to date across and up. They are drawn towards men who at least match them, and more often than not towards men who surpass them both socially, financially, emotionally, and in sheer presence. They instantly gravitate towards men who signal both strength and stability. For most men, however, their proclivity is a little different. They tend to leverage the few opportunities that come their way, even if those women do not measure up to the expectations they had. Most men will still take what they can get. And so, as a consequence of that, many men lower their standards over time without them even realizing it. This asymmetry explains much of the dating world. It is the reason why a small minority of men seem to attract the majority of the attention, while the rest compete for scraps. Only a select few men ever truly develop the facility to engage in upward dating. They don't wait for circumstances, they don't settle for chance encounters, they create opportunities, they reverse engineer attraction, and they cultivate abundance. As a consequence of that, they behave in a way that is almost alien to most men. They don't chase desperately, they don't cling to every match or every date as if it were their last. Instead, they live with the quiet assurance that there will always be more. They operate with choice and a take it or leave it attitude. This is precisely why turning the tables and exercising your own selectivity is such an overpowered psychological move. It is not simply about saying no for the sake of it. It is about reversing the underlying assumption of who is in control. It communicates, covertly, that you are not just another man hoping for approval. You are the man who grants it. When you behave in this manner, you seduce not just a woman's attention, but her imagination also. You shift the frame entirely. Instead of asking yourself, am I good enough for her? You start to embody a completely different question. And the difference between those two positions is the difference between being forgettable and being a very strong prospect. By carrying yourself as if you are actively choosing, you immediately enter the category of the rarest men. When you show that you are willing at times to even turn down women, you send a signal that cannot be faked. You separate yourself from the vast majority of men who live in quiet desperation, ready to accept whatever attention they can receive. And here's the paradox. The moment a woman realizes that your attention is not guaranteed, her investment in you only deepens. When she feels that she must qualify herself, when she feels that your interest must be earned, her attraction only grows deeper. She no longer views you as one option among many. She sees you as a prize, as the man worth pursuing. This is not some kind of arrogance. It is not hostility either. It is the natural posture of a man who understands his own value, a man who is not afraid to be alone, because he knows that abundance follows him wherever he goes. This breed of men are rare precisely because they act from strength and not from lack. Their freedom in the dating pool is totally boundless, not because they are perfect, but because they refuse to live as if they are dependent on approval. Women recognize it almost instantaneously. They feel it in the way you speak, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you make decisions. So, the principle is clear. Do not live as the man waiting to be chosen. Live as the man who chooses. Carry yourself as if your attention is scarce. Act as if your time is valuable. Make it evident, not through words, but through action, that your standards are not negotiable. Because the truth is this: the rarest and most desired men are those who do not bend themselves to fit into someone else's frame. They are the ones who build the frame from the bottom up. They are the men who knew their worth so deeply that the only question left is not whether they will be accepted, but who out of the many is worthy of their acceptance. This is the quiet difference between the majority of men and the minority who lead the game in its entirety.